part of the district. First, let me start by thanking Inspector Castillo from the 34th Precinct. He's doing, I believe, a great job. Up until now, 0 homicides in the 34th Precinct, 0. So let's keep it like that. And we hope to have a big celebration at the end of the year if we have 0. So I know that he will give you a more detailed report of the work that he's doing in the 34th Precinct. El inspector Castillo va a reportar sobre lo que está sucediendo en el precinto 34, 0 homicidios en el precinto 34, y le damos las gracias a él por sus iniciativas que ha comenzado. Y va a dar un informe detallado sobre el crimen. También con nosotros está Megan Molina, que es del MTA, de la Autoridad de Tránsito. Megan Molina from the MTA. And I know some of you, finally we got the escalators working over there. Sometimes. Okay. My knees remember that. And a recent report just came out that the air quality in that station is one of the poorest in the city. So my office, I just wanted to start with that. I'm not putting Megan on the position, not asking her that, because that came out, I believe it was yesterday. But my office already has been in touch with the MTA to see how we can mitigate the condition, the toxic condition of the air quality in the stations across the city. But that one, which is one of the deepest one in the city, not the deepest one is on 191st and St. Nicholas Avenue, the number 1 train. That's the deepest station in the city. But that one is fairly deep, as you know, from the escalators. And we want to see how we can mitigate the quality of the air there. La estación de tren de ahí, de la 181, salió un reporte que dice que tiene las condiciones del aire ahí son tóxicos, y estamos ya en contacto con la autoridad de tránsito, de transportación, para ver cómo podemos comenzar a tratar ese tema. We have Leslie Wright also from state parks, like Riverbank Park, right? State parks, very important. We're waiting, we will get the participation of, hopefully, of Anthony Perez, who's the Manhattan Borough Commissioner for Parks, right? City parks, right? We also are waiting for some of our other elected officials, and we have Isidro, who runs the Business Improvement District on 181st Street. Okay, so Isidro Medina right here from the BID. And he's gonna give us a presentation on the BID. Isidro Medina, que representa el BID de aquí de la calle 181. Make sure you sign in at the door so that we stay in contact with you throughout the year. And as you know, one of my offices is right down the street, 720 West 181st Street. So you always feel free to go to the office if you have any need that you may want addressed. But first, we're gonna listen to our state senator. He has to depart a little early today, so we're gonna cut him a break because he's from the neighborhood. And we're gonna listen to Senator Robert Jackson.
Thank you, Congressmember Espaillat, and I appreciate the break. Ladies and gents, brothers and sisters, I just arrived back from Albany just about an hour ago. I went home and had a little salad, and I told this Congressmember that at 7:10 I have to leave because I have a Democratic Club meeting up in the Bronx. As you know, when the lines were redrawn for Congress and the state Senate, 1/3 of my district is now in the Bronx. We're part of, right across all of the bridges, 181st Street Bridge, which is Morris Heights, the 207th Street Bridge, which is Fordham Road area, 225th Street area is Marble Hill and Kingsbridge, and I go up to Riverdale a little bit. So 1/3 of my district, 125,000 people, are in the Northwest Bronx now. And my district is where the primary language of the family there is 67% Hispanic. A majority of those Hispanic-speaking people are Dominican. And that was a transition over the past 20 years because the rents were too damn high in northern Manhattan. The people, like anyone else, you go where your money can afford. But I'm glad to be over there. That's why I try to get over there as much as I can to go to every community board, every police precinct council, every housing development in order for them to get to know me and me to get to know them. That's what it's about. That's how you serve the people. So I wanted to say that right now, as you know, the budget was passed. It was $229 billion. And now meaning we, the Senate and the Assembly, are in the process of, making sure that money gets to the agency, community-based organizations, and small groups and organizations that are struggling for funding. And that's taking place now through the last day we're in session is June 8th. So we only have about 2 weeks left, lobbying us like crazy up there. In fact, every single day there are people up there lobbying for their issues and concerns.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you so much for your work in Albany. Okay, si no hablan inglés, tenemos los equipos. If you don't speak English, but I have to say it in Spanish, right? Si no hablan inglés, tenemos la traducción simultánea, the simultaneous translation, so we can expedite this meeting, okay? Thank you so much. We're now going to listen to, and I'll get into the debt ceiling, and I'll get into the migrants and all those other issues, but I want to tackle some of the local ones first because I know some of you are here because of some of the local issues. Así que we're going to listen to our good friend, our commander from the 34th Precinct, who I believe is doing a great job. He's got a young face, but a lot of experience, right? Don't let the young face fool you. A lot of experience, and I think he's doing a good job. He has established a special command, mobile command on 207th Street by the foot of the bridge, because a lot of the crime is happening, people coming from the Bronx back and forth, and they come on the scooters. And so he has a command center there that I check out every night before I go home. And they do the roll call there, and it's really impressive. So he's working hard, and as I said earlier, 0 homicides so far. This is a long way from a precinct that back in the 80s and 90s used to average over 100 homicides a year. But we're pushing to have 0 homicide, and he's going to give us our report. Inspector Castillo, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Congressman, thank you for having me. Thank you all for coming. So, as the Congressman mentioned, I guess I'll start there with the THV is what we call it, the mobile command van that we have over on 207 and 9th Street and 9th Avenue. We established that as part of a task force on January 15th of this year. The reason we did that was because last year we struggled significantly with robberies, but not just robberies, robberies that became patterns. So what we call a pattern is basically criminals committing acts with the same modus operandi. So what we were seeing last year a lot was high-end vehicles being used to rob people at gunpoint of their jewelry. So that became obviously a big concern for us this year. We felt that it would be best if we created a task force of additional officers. So the Patrol Bureau Manhattan North provides us with 14 additional officers every night. And then in addition to that, all of my specialty units are pushed back to work 2100, so that's 9 o'clock p.m. to 5 in the morning, because the bulk of our robberies last year occurred between 2 and 5 in the morning. So basically they were trying to grab people as they were going to or leaving the nightclubs and robbing them of their jewelry at gunpoint. So we're doing a lot better with the robberies this year, especially of that variety with the gunpoint robberies. We're still up slightly for the year with regard to robberies, only a couple of crimes. But if you look at our gunpoint robbery, specifically for jewelry, we're down significantly. So I believe the task force is working. What we did was created a zone. So the zone where we saw most of these robberies occurring last year was basically Dyckman to Isham from Broadway to 10th, which is a significantly big zone. But if you look at that zone, since the robbery task force was established, we don't have any gunpoint robberies in that zone. So we do have some gunpoint robberies, but not in that zone, and that's where the focus of our robbery task force is. So it's definitely working. Overall, with crime in the 34th precinct, we're down 12%, so we're doing very well in that regard. As the congressman mentioned, we have 0 homicides for the year, and with regard to shootings, we're down 75%, 2 versus 8 for the year. So we're doing very well with violent crime. We hope to continue that as we move forward. Now, in addition to that, you know, not just the deployment and the presence to prevent the crime, but also we're being proactive about it. So when you look at our enforcement numbers, we're up across the board. This is a question I get a lot at community council meetings. What are we doing about the reckless drivers? What are we doing about the scooters who are driving recklessly on the sidewalks? What are we doing about the dirt bikes? I know that at times you may not feel as if we're doing enough, and trust me, I'm always looking to do better. But if you look at our enforcement numbers, we're up across the board significantly. So if you look at our dirt bike seizures this year, we have over 30 dirt bike seizures. Moped seizures, we're basically at the same number. With our moving violations, so that's a violation where we pull over a car, we pull over a motorcycle, we're up 191%. So we're really making an effort to step up the enforcement. In addition to that, we're up across the board with arrests, significantly, 75% we're up in arrests overall. We're up in what we call criminal court summonses, so that's the quality of life violations that I get a lot of complaints about. So drinking in public, excessively loud music, urinating in public, that variety of violation. We're up 53% in that. We're also up over 50% in gun arrests. So we've made 28 gun arrests this year so far, up 53%, like I mentioned. So, you know, the cops are out there making an effort. In addition to that, we have 267 vehicle-related arrests. So that's where we make an arrest and the perpetrator is in a vehicle, okay? Either the vehicle is stolen, it's used in a crime. 97 of those 267 arrests involve paper plates, which is another concern that I've heard, you know, plenty of, and it's a concern of mine as well. So as you can see, the cops are out there working. I've received additional help throughout the year from the Patrol Bureau of Manhattan North and from downtown at One Police Plaza. I will continue to get that support throughout the summer. So this beginning the first week of April, they gave me 9 additional rookie officers, so that gives us a total of 17 newer officers who have 6 months or less on the job pretty much. They're going to be spread out along St. Nicholas Avenue from 181 Street up to 190 Street and also along Dyckman Street, basically from Broadway down to Naples. The reason for that is those are big commercial corridors. We want that presence out there. It gives them an opportunity to interact with the community. It gives them an opportunity to learn. They'll see a lot out there that they can learn from. So I think that'll be beneficial as well. Also, now that the summer is coming, the department implements what they call the summer violence plan. And basically what that entails is there's mobile field forces that are deployed to Randall's Island. And those mobile field forces are 4 or 5 different groups. Each group has 40 cops, and they spread them out throughout the borough for whatever precinct happens to need the help at the time. So we will be receiving a portion of those mobile field forces throughout the summer to help us out. So we're getting a lot of additional personnel. We're on the right track. We're down 12%, as I mentioned. I have heard a lot of your concerns, trust me, and I'm sure I'll answer some of the questions here today. But rest assured that with regard to resources, we have plenty of it. And with regard to my cops being motivated to go out there and address your concerns, as I mentioned, you've seen the enforcement numbers. They're definitely motivated. They will continue to work hard to keep this community safe. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, if you have a question, Cynthia over here has the index cards. We're already getting them. I just want to inform also that through the funding in Congress, we're trying to allocate $3 million to the Northern Manhattan Small Business Crime Prevention effort, which will work with Manhattan North and the local businesses in installing buttons, alarm buttons, better lighting, plexiglass dividers where needed, cameras, and there will be a direct connection between the small businesses and the police department, Manhattan North, to try to prevent and address crime. In addition, we're trying to get also $1 million to bring a very successful program that's in Harlem right now to work with the youth in the neighborhood. The police department, there are certain police officers that will work with the New York Giants and the police and the local youth in our intermediate schools and high school. So we're hopeful to get those two programs going this year. So please write the questions down. We're getting a bunch of them already. Now let's hear, because I know that your concern is also the cleanliness of the street, the local commercial artery here on 181st Street. And last year I allocated $1.7 million to the bid, the local bid. And Isidro is here to talk about the general, and basically to clean up the street, to scrub it down, right? I share your views that the streets are dirty, they need to be cleaned up. There's too much vending going on, and it's just in total chaos. But he's doing a good job, and he's trying to get it under control. And now Isidro will give us a presentation on what some of his plans are.
Before you applaud, Congressman, is it okay that I wait a little bit because I'm waiting for some visuals?
Oh, he's waiting for visuals.
If not, I can do it, but I would rather have the visuals.
Okay, so we'll wait on him because he has visuals that he wants to present to you. Now we're going to hear from the MTA. As you know, I'm working on the 2nd Avenue subway. That's on the east side of the district in East Harlem. It's a $7 billion project. It's in the engineering phase. President Biden put it in the list of 60 major capital projects for the country. So we're hoping that we have a full funding agreement for the 2nd Avenue subway extension from 96th Street to 125th Street, connecting to Metro North, LaGuardia via bus, and future water transportation, both on the west side of the Hudson and the Harlem River. So now let's listen to our representative from the MTA. We also have this flyer that's being given out. It's regarding the workers, the MTA workers. They're complaining about some of the conditions, so please go through the flyer. But let's listen to Megan Molina, who's here representing the MTA. Megan.
Thank you very much, Representative Espaillat, for having me here tonight, and good evening, everyone. My name is Megan Molina. I'm an Assistant Director of Government and Community Relations for New York City Transit. I am this office's point of contact for any subway and bus matters. I do cover this part of Manhattan as well as the entirety of the Bronx, so just happy to be here with you all tonight. So like I mentioned, I'm here as a point of contact when it comes to any subway service concerns or bus service concerns, any issues as it concerns construction projects throughout the district, or reduced fare MetroCard issues. Obviously, we are in proximity to the 181st Street subway station, and we know that there's a lot of work happening there. Heard some folks, say that the escalators, that there seems to have been some issues. I took the train here myself, and I did notice an outage, so rest assured that I will be looking into why there is currently an outage for one of the escalators. We also have the work happening to install elevators at that station to make that station fully accessible. So a lot of work happening there. And good news too, we also have ADA work happening at the Dyckman Street station, and so that work was originally planned to be completed in summer of this year, and it looks like we are ahead and making great progress there, and that's going to be probably completed in the spring, that I'm happy to share with you all tonight. Moving forward to reduced fare Omni. So for reduced fare MetroCard customers, I did leave some pamphlets out on the tables out front that I recommend that you go out and take a look at. Omni, for most folks know, for those who don't, that's our new fare payment system that allows folks to tap and go at subway stations and aboard buses. For our reduced fare MetroCard customers, we are currently encouraging you, if interested, to transfer your reduced fare MetroCard benefit over to reduced fare Omni. The rollout is being phased, and so by that I mean that if you were to do so, you would be limited to using a smartphone or a smartwatch or a contactless debit or credit card. If that's not what you want to do because you're not interested, then don't worry about it. If you are a reduced fare MetroCard customer, then by the end of this year or early next, you will be receiving a physical reduced fare Omni card that you can use the same way that you use your reduced fare MetroCard. So with that, I will leave time for questions. I'm sure that there will be many, so I'll pass it back to Representative Espaillat.
Thank you so much. We'll continue with the presenters while we wait for Isidro's visuals. And now we have also with us Anthony Perez, who's the new Manhattan Commissioner for New York City Parks. Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anthony Perez. I'm the Manhattan Borough Commissioner for New York City Parks. I'm happy to be here tonight with you all. Mi nombre es Anthony Perez, soy comisionado de los parques de Manhattan y es un orgullo mío estar aquí con ustedes hoy.
Lentamente, por favor.
So,
Slower.
They have translation for us.
okay, sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all a couple updates regarding New York City Parks. I'm going to start with maintenance and operations. I'll give you an update on programming, on enforcement, and just quickly on capital or construction projects that are happening in our parks. I won't go into too many details. We have other folks that need to speak here, so I'll be quick and I'll have some more information if questions pop up. So in terms of maintenance and operations, in Upper Manhattan and Northern Manhattan District 12 and 12A, we have over 650 acres of parkland. That means 75 different properties and 53 different sub-properties, like playgrounds and athletic fields and basketball courts. There's 112 different staff to help us maintain those different parks. That includes seasonal staff and our workforce development staff as well. Right now, we're doing seasonal transition. That means we're bringing on a bunch of part-time staff that will be working during the peak times of the year. During the summer is when our parks get busiest, so we bring in extra staff that's temporarily for most of the year to help us maintain and clean our parks. Those staff are currently being onboarded and assigned to different parks across the district, so you'll see a lot more people cleaning your parks and a lot more friendlier faces when you come and visit them. Something that's new this year is something that we're calling second shift. In March, the mayor announced a second shift operation, and what that means is that normally our park staff work from about 6 a.m. to about 3 or 4 p.m., and now with the second shift, we're bringing on a whole new set of workers that are going to be working later nights and evenings. That includes weekends as well. So we're going to have 240 new staff that are coming to parks. They're going to be focused on 100 different hotspot sites. Hotspot sites, what we mean by that is areas that get the most traffic, particularly where there are barbecue areas or where you see people gathering a lot on weekends. So those staff will be there to clean up on the later hours when we don't normally have people around to maintain these parks. Up here in this area specifically, that means we're going to have 10 different folks that will be working in this area in the parks that are serviced, and particularly again in what we call our hotspot sites. As it relates to trash and rodents, we've been working very closely with our partners at DSNY and other agencies. We've been finding efficiencies and synergy in trash collection. So normally our own parks vehicles help pick up the trash, but now we're working with DSNY as well, where we put it along their collection routes. We can more efficiently pick up trash more times a day, more times a week, so that our parks are even cleaner. And as well, I just want to touch on homeless encampments. As we know and we saw, especially during the pandemic, more and more of our fellow New Yorkers have experienced homelessness, and a lot of times parks is one of the only places where they find a place to stay. However, when there are encampments or activities when there are a lot of folks, we try to work with them to help them find services and find support in shelters and other places. And so we're increasing that activity, particularly in areas like Fort Washington Park along the greenways in the woods, where it's hard to really access support and services. Quickly, in terms of programming, we have a lot of events coming up. This weekend in particular is called It's My Park Day, where parks across the city will have volunteer groups doing cleanup events, painting benches, picking up litter. And so just this weekend alone, we have 7 different events happening in this area. At Bennett Park on Saturday, between 10 and 12, the Friends of Bennett Park will be there planting and cleaning up the park. At J. Hood Wright Park, between 10 and 1, the Friends of J. Hood Wright are going to be weeding, planting, and picking up litter. At Riverside Oval, between 10 and 1 p.m., the Riverside Oval Association will be planting bulbs and cleaning up in the oval in the meetings. At Isham Park, between 9 a.m. and 11:30 a.m., the volunteers for Isham Park will be cleaning up trash, pulling weeds, and adding plant material and mulch. And on Sunday at Juan Pablo Duarte Square, between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., the Washington Heights Gardening Club will be doing a general cleanup of tree pits and also painting some of the fencing around those tree pits as well. And there's a bunch of other events coming up. She's not here just yet, but I want to give the credit to Councilmember Carmen de la Rosa, who helped fund a lot of these program activities. There are many movies under the stars that are happening. Once the weather gets nice, we like to bring all the kids out to our parks with a big screen and watch nice feature films that are usually either just coming off theaters or now being played in streaming services. So tomorrow at J. Hood Wright Park, we're showing the movie Sing 2. It's a popular children's movie. On May 24th, we're showing Paws of Fury. On May 31st, we're showing Vivo. And on June 17th, we'll be showing Encanto at Raoul Wallenberg Playground. There's a bunch of more activity happening as well, but I'll just highlight one or two more. On June 4th, we're doing the annual Drums Along the Hudson Festival. That's with the Friends of Inwood Hill Park. That's a beautiful event with drums and dancing from around the world. And one more event that I really want to highlight is on June 6th, we're celebrating the 175th anniversary of the High Bridge. It is the oldest bridge in New York City. And what we're going to, that deserves So our Commissioner of New York City Parks will be there. The Borough President from Manhattan and from the Bronx will be there as well. And so will I as the Borough Commissioner of Manhattan, along with my counterpart of the Bronx. And we're going to meet in the middle on the bridge that connects our boroughs. So that's on June 6th, and we hope to see you there. We'll be joined by community groups and local schools as well. Let me quickly just talk about enforcement. In terms of enforcement, you know, we have our own parks enforcement police, and they help us enforce our rules in our parks. Different parks have different needs and different issues. When it comes to Bennett Park, for example, what we're seeing a lot lately, and comes in the last 2 months, there's a lot of issues around parking violations. People are parking on our entranceway, and also off-leash dogs. It's a big issue in the area, and we've done a special detail to help educate some of our dog owners about keeping their dogs on leash and cleaning up after them as well when their dogs are in our parks.
We already got 30 questions. I'm gonna really go quickly because I want to get through all of these. And we're here till 8 o'clock. So now let's listen to Leslie Wright, who's our New York State Parks Director. Leslie, welcome.
Good evening, everybody. So, you know, the state's bigger than the city geographically, but boy, are we the underdog for parks here in New York City. We have 8 state parks in the 5 boroughs of New York City and 1 state park in this magnificent 13th Congressional District. Raise your hand if you know Danny Farrell Riverbank State Park. Woo! Thank you. Yes, okay. So, Riverbank is on the move. The park is turning 30 this year. And mark your calendars, if you would please, June 17th. We're having a big celebration day, rain or shine. Everybody's invited. Please, everybody bring at least 10 people. And everything's going to be open and free. We've got a whole bunch of performances happening, a big musical program, swimming expositions, plus swimming, public swimming free. The carousel is going to be free and running all day. It's a kid-designed carousel, so make sure to bring your kids. In addition, our programming is just going full bore this summer. We have roller skating, swimming, I mentioned the carousel, lots and lots of open gym, basketball tournaments, tennis is in full swing. We are recruiting for our park tennis team. So look at our website, watch the New York State Parks Explorer app for updates about that. We are also staffing up at the park, both for the summer and just generally. Staffing, hiring in New York City and beyond continues to be a big challenge. We have fantastic jobs. We have permanent jobs, we have seasonal jobs. So please, New York State Jobs is where to go to look for all those openings. If you know anybody looking for a job, just send them there, and all of our openings are listed. We also have a bunch of capital projects going on in the park. We are renovating the track and field. That project will be done in August. We are almost done, just a hair's breadth away from the renovation, completion of the renovation to upgrade the locker rooms and bathrooms in the athletics complex. The end of June, we're going to gear up to start the renovation of the aquatics locker room, bathrooms, reception area, staff offices. That's going to be a big project. It'll take about a year. Yes, you're a swimmer, so you know how badly we need that. Thank you. And we are putting in new air conditioning in the theater. That's going to gear up later this summer. There will be seamless air conditioning throughout. I hope you also know that we have regular senior social concerts all year long in our theater. We also have summer concerts outside pretty much every single weekend. So all of that is free at Riverbank, always has been, always will be. The last thing that I'm going to leave you with is, well, actually last two things. Summer camp starts July 6th this year. We still have openings. It's one of the best deals in town. Kids from 7 years old to 13 years old are welcome. Just contact the park if you know kids who need a great summer camp to go to. And then finally, our good news is that the New York State Park Police have just graduated a new class of State Park Police members, and the New York City region got a whopping 12 new members. So you will see them at Riverbank. They'll help keep everybody safe, collaborate beautifully with all the local NYPD precincts. I look forward to hearing any questions you have later. And thank you for loving your state parks in New York City.
From Isidro and from sanitation, and I want to give, we got to be out of here by 8 o'clock, so I want to give over an hour of the questions. I got like 50 of them here. Isidro, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Again, Isidro Medina. I am the Executive Director of the Washington Heights Pit. Very grateful, Congressman, for your assistance, also for the council member, Camila Rosa, for providing some fundings. The Congressman is trying to support us through a grant known as Congressional Directed Spending Community Projects Fund, along with a partnership from private sectors, particularly the hospital has given us some funds. And Senator, I hope that sooner or later we get some assistance from the state as well. Managing all these grants between the Inwood Medical Association and the bid, we hope to bring a comprehensive plan that will bring sanitation cleaning. We're going to remove graffitis from storefronts, mailboxes, light poles, fire hydrants, and from storefronts the gates that you see sometimes are very tired. In all, we hope to paint over 20,000 graffitis for the community. Besides that, we're going to also provide supplemental sanitation assistance. We're going to have a team of sanitation workers that are going to work 7 days a week throughout the most busiest corridors in Northern Manhattan. Some of our sidewalks, Congressman, they seem to be really, really dirty and in need of power washing. So we're going to be conducting some assessment, and we're going to do some power washing on specific sidewalks. We understand that increased litter graffitis are growing a concern for the community and are a tremendous disaster for the residents and visitors. It dramatically affects the neighborhood's aesthetics and contributes to the street cleanliness, and litter also represents a public health and increases the garbage, which leads to a surge in rodents and vermin. Besides that, I'm sure you've noticed that some of our tree pits are in really, really bad condition. Through some of the grants, we'll be able to not only maintain the tree pits, but also replace the soil. As you know, the trees are the health of our air and the lungs, and we most definitely need that now that we have this report from the MTA, from NYU, that is stating that 181st Street and 168 really have really bad pollutants. So we're going to replenish with mulch, fertilizers, and replace some of the tree guards if they're broken. Also, Congressman, with the city's recent change on signage, where most of our awnings are really in bad shape, we hope to provide some grants from storefronts. So if you know some businesses that need assistance in replacing the awnings, please reach out to our office. and we'll be able to provide some grants in specific areas of Northern Manhattan. Having said that, some of our operators don't have the financial capabilities to replace the awnings, so we'll definitely be able to provide that assistance along with the Inwood Merchant Association.
Now we're going to listen to James Levy from Department of Sanitation. Welcome, James.
Good job, yeah.
Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate you having me here again. This forum is always one that I enjoy coming to, and I'll keep it brief in the matter of getting to the questions. So since the last update, we were about a month into the new set-out rules that went into effect. Basically, that the new set-out rules were to combat the rodent problems we were having. And now we're seeing bags being set out, it's containerized and go out at 6 p.m. Refuse that is in bags can go out at 8 p.m. We have changed the time we are servicing these bags. We put 30% of our refuse trucks on the midnight to 8 shift, which is a big increase. We changed the dayline start time from 6 a.m. to 5 a.m. And we eliminated any refuse that was being picked up on the 1600 shift, which is 4 to 12. So the goal, the commissioner's goal, is basically to have refuse recycling bags and containers on the street for the least amount of time as possible. And I gotta say that 1 month into it, it's made a big difference. I think that you can see it when you walk down the street and you don't see bags that are sitting out there for 12 to 15 hours. They're not getting picked up until 9 o'clock at night. In the event of an emergency or in a snow emergency, when the winter rolls around, yes, of course, we're gonna have to pivot at times, and we'll be still picking stuff up on the 1600 shift or 4 to 12. But for the most part, we are able to have everything serviced on a normal day by normally around 11 a.m. we've seen in most of our districts. So that's been a great increase. Also going into street vendor enforcement, the commissioner has put a big push on that, making sure that the right people are out there with the right licenses and making sure that they are taking care of whatever refuse they're leaving behind. If not, our enforcement teams are going out and making sure that we're serving the proper penalties to those that are not following the guidelines. Intensive cleaning, our TNT team continues to go out to chronic locations. As the 181st Street bid, as I just mentioned, we're putting a big push on graffiti removal, working with them. We have a whole sanitation team that is going into that. We have assisted DOT with highway sweeping, which is another initiative that the commissioner took on, and it's made a huge difference. I think it's very important when somebody lands at JFK or at LaGuardia and they're traveling into Manhattan the whole way, that they shouldn't be seeing filth on the side of the highways. I think sanitation's been making a big impact on that, especially on our highways here. Even though we don't have a ton, but in Manhattan we've been making a big impact on that. So that's basically the update I have. Any questions? I'll be around after the meeting. If anyone needs to speak to me individually, I'll be here. Thank you.
Well, now we're going to go to the questions. First, let's two questions that were directed to Senator Jackson. He has to leave early. He will address first